Personally, I have nothing against him personally, but his performance tonight was a disgrace.
Parker's on the ropes, tucking up. Little uppercut slip through, right hand misses. There's another 2-3 shots there. They've come together, they're a bit scrappy. Right hand lands there. Fabio's absolutely exhausted. Parker's still tucking up, 2 shots.
He's absolutely horrendous. He's sitting at #1 spot. He could have picked an easier night than Fabio Wardley. A dangerous.
Alexander Usyk couldn't contain his amusement. Moments after Joseph Parker's brutal defeat at the hands of Fabio Wardley, the unified heavyweight champion wore a familiar grin. Half disbelief, half amusement. It was the kind of smirk you'd expect from a man watching an old rival crumble under pressure. To Usyk, it was comical.
Someone's doing that to you. If you pull out high, you're going to get caught. If you lean back and try to stay away at a distance, you're going to go. The only you do is go into it.
To Parker, it was nothing short of humiliating. What unfolded that night wasn't just a loss. It was a complete dismantling. The referee stepped in to save Parker from further harm, but by then, the damage was done. Losing to Wardley wasn't just about getting hit, it was about pride. And that pride had been broken.
Watching this, and then I just thought it was disgraceful tonight. I just thought that. Anyway, they robbed him of a victory, but people saw what happened.
Broken long before the referee ended the fight. As Usyk chuckled, the boxing world analyzed the wreckage of Parker's downfall. Andy Lee's frustration was obvious, his face tense as he searched for something, anything, to defend Parker. But there was no robbery to speak of. Parker wasn't cheated. He was exposed. Fabio Wardley didn't need the judges.
Hey, listen, you got caught with the head on the temple, and then after that, it was a long night for him. I'm a bit sad, because I didn't want him to go out like that.
Is that because of the fights you've had with him?
No, it's because that he's never boxed a southpaw. You know, that's the first southpaw he's boxed in how long? It's maybe his whole career.
His fists were the final word. Every clean shot Wardley landed told the story of a younger, hungrier fighter tearing apart a veteran who had lost his fire. The referee made the right call, intervening to protect a man who had mentally checked out. Parker's defense had collapsed under the pressure.
I think that Joseph Parker threw it away. You know, they talk about tactics and game plans and one thing and another these days. Excuse me. You know, when I was boxing, obviously things were different, and you know, you kind of, you know, you went round by round.
His timing had vanished, his confidence fading with every passing round. As the fight wore on, his pride dissolved in front of millions. Duke McKenzie summed it up well. Parker threw it all away. The talk of tactics and ring IQ disappeared when the bell rang. Wardley wasn't there to play chess. He was there to destroy.
He walked in there, was game on. By the time he got hit by 3 shots, that was it. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think the fight was...
And destroy he did. Parker was outthought, outfought, and outworked by a man who simply wanted it more. It wasn't bad luck. It was poor judgment. Parker's hesitation cost him everything. Derek Chisora, speaking with rare empathy, acknowledged Parker's struggle.
Wasn't throwing much back. He should have either grabbed on, took a knee, or at least threw a bit more back. He was sitting back with his guard up, taking punches. It looked messy. It looked like he was under attack, and he was.
But even his compassion couldn't disguise the truth. Parker got caught, panicked, and never recovered. Once Wardley's temple shot landed, Parker's legs turned to jelly, and the fight became a desperate battle for survival. Wardley, sensing blood, was ruthless. He no longer saw this as a test.
I mean, the only thing that disappointed me about Parker was he threw it away. Because tactically, got his tactics all wrong. I know in heavyweight boxing, all heavyweights hit hard, but Fabio Wardley's on a great run of knockouts, right? Just knocking everyone out. Anybody put in front of me blows.
It was a demolition job. Parker, despite being a former champion, was sitting back with his guard up, taking punishment without fighting back. It was a messy, one-sided display. When the fight got tough, Parker folded. Duke McKenzie didn't mince words. Parker got everything wrong.
You get caught some big shots, and you know there was a good few punches. I wasn't counting, but it looked like a lot. Obviously, I'm concerned for Joe because he's a friend and you know, close friend, and you don't want to see anyone get hurt. But it was.
No rhythm, no urgency, no heart. He walked into a storm expecting mercy, but Wardley offered none. Every punch from Wardley had intent. Every attack was precise. Wardley wasn't swinging wildly. He was executing a calculated assault. Parker didn't just lose the fight. He lost his aura. Wardley walked out of that ring not just as the victor, but as the man who had dismantled Joseph Parker's credibility as an elite heavyweight. Carl Froch put it bluntly, as only he could. Parker froze. There was no counter, no composure, just survival. Wardley's relentless pressure turned a seasoned veteran into a mere passenger in his own destruction. Parker's high guard.
Unbelievable fight, really. Ended up being a great fight. It wasn't one I was overly excited for, really. Amazing, really. Amazing. So I thought Parker would win. I didn't really have any doubts Parker would win.
Guard wasn't defense, it was surrender. True champions find ways to fire back under fire. Parker didn't. He folded, round by round, punch by punch. Even Tyson Fury, Parker's close friend, couldn't sugarcoat what everyone saw. It was a brutal beating. Fury, despite his genuine concern, had no choice but to admit that Parker had been battered. Frank Warren, never one to exaggerate, credited Wardley's body shots as surgical. And he was right. Wardley's work to the body was masterful, wearing down Parker's stamina, stripping away his toughness. Each body shot chipped away at the once durable Parker. Wardley's accuracy and rhythm were unbreakable. The former champion's name, his past belt.
Joe got on top of him at times, doubling the left hook up, hitting him with the right hand, had him all over, he's reeling all over Fabio Wardley, but he bit down his gum shield. He thought, right, fuck you, I've got the power to straighten this right out, and that's what he did in the 11th.
His resume, none of it mattered once the pain took over. This wasn't an upset. It was a statement. Parker's words after the fight rang hollow, almost rehearsed. He was too early in his attempt to explain the loss. It wasn't a matter of a robbery, as some had suggested. The truth was simple. Parker had been dominated. Wardley had made a clear statement. Parker's attempts at damage control, calling Wardley a warrior, were less about respect and more about resigning to the fact that he had been outclassed by a man with half his experience and twice his hunger. Gerald Big Baby Miller, trying to remain diplomatic, couldn't help but admire Wardley's performance. He earned that.
He was winning most of the rounds, but you know, Wardley's got that big equaliser and rattled him, and Joseph's my friend. It's hard to watch your friend getting punched or hurt.
Stoppage, Miller said. And he did. Parker wasn't fighting anymore. He was merely surviving. The referee didn't rob him. He protected him. Wardley's timing, power, and precision were simply too much. It was clear. Parker had not fought like a man with resilience. He fought like a man clinging to his reputation, hoping it would carry him through. But Wardley was relentless. His attacks weren't wild swings. They were calculated, surgical strikes that slowly dismantled Parker, physically and mentally. The final stoppage wasn't premature. It was necessary. Wardley had earned it. And in the end, Parker wasn't just beaten in the ring.
Face, I've got to get a job done here. So after the things he said the last time, he knows he probably mugged himself off. I think that probably hurt him more than anything, hurt his pride.
He was stripped of his credibility, piece by piece. This fight was a turning point for Parker. Wardley's performance wasn't just a victory, it was a message to the heavyweight division. And for Parker, the humiliation was complete. Joseph Parker's physical and mental collapse was evident for all to see. The cruel nature of heavyweight boxing is that, when a fighter is finished, the world usually sees it before they do. That night, Joseph Parker's decline was painfully clear. Carl Froch, never one to hold back, made it clear that Wardley had been robbed of a highlight finish. In his eyes, the stoppage didn't just save Parker's record, it saved his dignity. One more minute, and Wardley might have delivered one of the most brutal finishes of the year. Froch observed that at times, Wardley was landing the left hook, following it up with a right hand, and...
What a crazy fight, you know. I see Parker was 7 rounds maybe
I think Parker win, you know. But, you know, this is a heavyweight boxing, you know, one punch can change a fight, you know, and you see the result, you know. I don't know why Parker, after 7 rounds, to go back. I think he have too much muscle, you know, too much weight. A little bit, I think not so.
Had Parker reeling. Despite being on the receiving end of that relentless assault, Parker didn't retaliate. He didn't show the fire needed to turn the fight around. Wardley, on the other hand, dug deep, thinking, I've got the power to finish this. And that's exactly what he did. Parker was exhausted, drained, and offering nothing in return. At that point, the fight wasn't even a contest. It was a rescue mission. Even in mercy, Wardley looked magnificent. He had proven his critics wrong, silenced the doubters, and dismantled a former world champion with patience, precision, and composure. Froch's analysis didn't just praise Wardley's power, it validated it. Fabio Wardley wasn't merely strong, he was calculated. He was levels above Parker, who was nothing more than another body caught in the storm. Dave Allen's disbelief captured.
Both guys had their moments in there. It was ebb and flow, and you know what it is, I was like, Fabio hit him with some good shots. Fabio needs to do a bit more. But Fabio's always, he's like the Deontay Wilder of the UK, man. He always has that equal there down the stretch. I mean, I think Parker blew his tank in that round before, where he literally let it out, and then kind of that was
captured the mood perfectly. I didn't expect Parker to crumble like that, he admitted. Nobody did. Parker entered the ring as the favorite, a seasoned veteran, a polished professional. Yet, by the end, he left looking like a sparring partner. Wardley flipped every prediction upside down, turning doubt into dominance. Allen's tone shifted from shock to respect. He had just witnessed a passing of the torch. Parker's confidence, his chin, and his reputation had all been questioned in one brutal night. Fabio Wardley didn't just win. He redefined the British heavyweight hierarchy. John Fury captured the essence of the fight succinctly. Willpower and grit, that's what won it. Wardley may not have been the most experienced man in the ring, but he was the hungriest. Hunger is the ultimate equalizer in boxing. Parker may have had the bigger resume.
Too early. He was tired. He may have just robbed Fabio Wardley there of a great stoppage, which is what I was saying with me and Groves. It stopped a bit too early. If the fight was going to carry on, I would have got the conclusive finish. Fabio Wardley may have just got...
But Wardley had the bigger heart. When things got tough, Parker wilted. Wardley bit down on his gum shield and fought like his life depended on it, because in many ways, it did. That's the difference between fighters chasing greatness and those clinging to fading glory. Wardley didn't just showcase skill, he showed intent. He absorbed the pressure, adjusted, and then exploded with championship composure. Parker sure had his moments, but Wardley had the finish. And in boxing, that's all that matters. David Higgins, Parker's longtime manager, tried to stay loyal to his fighter, but even loyalty couldn't hide the truth. Parker wasn't winning rounds. He was merely surviving them. Wardley's equalizer wasn't just a punch. It was a message. One clean shot, and Parker's entire structure collapsed. Higgins's voice carried the pain of watching a friend unravel in real time. The power, the pressure, and the composure, every aspect of the fight was in Wardley's favor. Once that big shot landed, Parker's confidence vanished. His legs betrayed him. His guard dropped. His spirit faded with every clean connection. Higgins said it was hard to watch, and he wasn't wrong. The fans saw the same thing, a man once considered elite being systematically broken. Wardley showed no emotion, no hesitation. Every jab, every hook carried purpose. Every strike was a statement. The new generation had arrived. Parker wasn't just fighting another contender. He was facing the future of the heavyweight division. Johnny Nelson didn't hold back either. His words struck as hard as Wardley's punches. Parker didn't just lose the fight, he lost his pride. All that talk of focus and redemption evaporated the moment Wardley started landing bombs. Parker fought like a man haunted by his own promises.